from the high banks of Thunder Valley to Music City. We arrive at Nashville Superspeedway, race 5 of the AT&T Cup Series campaign, ready to go racing once again. Welcome everyone to the AT&T Cup Series on CBS for the AT&T 300. Important race for the series and for the drivers as we prepare to set the top 35 that'll be locked in for next week's race. But a lot to talk about going in. The points are important. They're important at the top end of the stick as well. It's a tie at the top of the board after 4 races. Ciara Christensen, former series champion, and the hotshot rookie, Violet Hale, top of the board with 141 points apiece. Christensen winning last week in Bristol, helping propel to the front of the field. Carmen Sienna in third, ahead alongside Ciara Rigney there. A lot of close battles in the points. Thomas Rogers in 5th, not far away either. Cole Matthews and Megan Davenport. Keisha Fox, 3 rookies in the top 10 there behind Violet Hale. It's a very tight Rookie of the Year conversation starting off the season. Victor Oldham III sitting in 9th. Krista Everett up in the top 10 at the moment. That's where the chase cutoff would be if it started today. Obviously, a lot of racing to go. Still 22 races left in the season, including tonight. Delana Delahaye, first car out, looking in at the top 10. Daryl Bird in 12th, the Daytona 500 winner, sits tied with Sonia Walker in 12th. Roberto Crown Jr. in 14th, alongside Celine Robinson, their top 15. Celeste Sullivan, despite missing failing to qualify for last week's race in Bristol, still top 16 in points. Taylor Courting, this will be a hit for the rookie. Failed to qualify in Nashville. Was 17th going into today, will not be top 20 leaving Nashville this weekend. Fred Jones in 18th, Ben Kreider will not be in the field either. Very top-deserving qualifying here on this concrete 1 1/3 mile oval. Ben Harrington in 20th will gain some spots if things go right for the 21 camp here tonight. The starting grid, it is spicy to see how things play out, to say the least. Ciara Rigney on pole position, Carmen Sienna at the front of the field as well, outside front row. Evie Pearson, the rookie, 2 starts, 2 DNFs, but they've all been mechanical for the 81. Can a finish come to fruition for the 81 camp here tonight in Nashville? We'll find out. Krista Everett in row 2 alongside Pearson. Ciara Christensen, tied points leader alongside Penn Harrington in row 3. Thomas Rogers and Roberta Crown Jr. in row 4. The top 10 is rounded out by Sonia Walker, the defending Cup Series champion, and Victor Oldham III for Ludwig Motorsports. Just outside the top 10 is where you'll find Keisha Fox and Violet Hale, a couple of rookies in that top 10 conversation in the points after 4 races. Daryl Bird and Jace Clark sit in row 7. This is Daryl Bird's best qualifying effort of the season so far, as he tries to rally back into the top 10 in points to capture some of that early form from Daytona. Leo Carson, Matilda Atalanta in row 8. Then Fred Jones and Celine Robinson make up row 9. Shea Mendoza and Gavin Gray are where you'll find the top 20 rounded out. And then it moves to the top 40. Beginning with 21st, Daniel Molina alongside Michael Norman filling in for Wyatt Jones. Wyatt Jones will be back in the car next weekend. Megan Davenport and Celeste Sullivan behind them in row 12. Levi Allison, Everett Jackson, they make up row 13. Row 14 is Darrell Everett Jr. and Delana Delahaye. Alex Coleman and Cam Anderson make up row 15. Your top 30 ends there. The final 5 rows is where you'll find Max Kuhn and Chris Pauley, Benedito Magalhaes and Riley Dominguez in row 17. Zoe Black and Cole Matthews in row 18. Jack Kreider and Neola Force in row 19. Satomi Ray and Caitlin Hunter make up the 20th and final row in the field here for Nashville. It is almost time to step aside and send it trackside for those most famous words in all of motorsports. We welcome you to enjoy 240 laps, 300 miles of racing here in Music City, here on CBS.
Drivers, start your engines!
And with that, it is time to get going here in Nashville. 225 laps, 300 miles. I misquoted the race distance initially. 225 laps, not 240. But it will be a lot of fun to see how this all pans out. With Rigney at the front of the field for Honda. First pole position for Honda this season. But a lot of work to do for the cars in the field, 40 strong, as we get ready to go. We're glad you're with us. But it's almost showtime. Kansas in 2 weeks' time, North Wilkesboro next weekend. We can't wait to be back there. But Nashville is front and center for everyone's minds here tonight. The green flag flies. The AT&T 300 is underway here in Nashville. First lap in the books. Kira Rigney leads the way. Carmen Sienna in second. Carissa Everett up to third. Then Harrington in that fourth spot. Evie Pearson in fifth. There's the 88 of Roberta Crown Jr. Also in the conversation, Victor Oldham trying to move forward. In the seventh spot right now, Thomas Rogers in eighth, getting around Ciara Christensen. Violet Hale up 2 spots to 10th for the 24 count. Jace Clark in 11th. Matilda Adelanta getting around 2 cars for 12th. And struggles there for both Sonia Walker and Celine Robinson on the bottom lane. We are underway here in Nashville. Everyone jockeying for positions here. That is Christensen trying to make a move to get around Thomas Rogers again in that battle for 8th. Pearson has been passed by Carissa Everett. Sorry, Pearson beginning to surge back towards Carissa Everett. Got passed earlier, but the 81 beginning to surge back forward. But it is still Kira Rigney, the 80 machine, that Honda Civic for RACECAR Racing at the front of the field. Sienna in second. Everett in third. Pearson in fourth. Crown top 5 ahead of Harrington and Oldham. A lot of Fords in that top 10 at the moment. 6 of them in the conversation right now. All the way down to Violet Hale. Jace Clark in 11th, another Ford Mustang sitting there in the conversation. And then you have 3 Dodge Chargers and a Honda Civic battling for 12th. Tony Walker's dropped down to the 17th position. Edward Jackson, 18th. Megan Davenport, 19th. Daniel Molina now in 20th place. Mendoza, 21st. Sullivan getting around Fred Jones. That is for the 22nd position. 23rd for Jones. 24th for Michael Norman. Delahaye, Cam Anderson, Benedito Magales at the blunt end of the field at the moment. Still a lot of racing going on. Coleman and Zoe Black, who's using the outside lane, running as close to the wall as you possibly can, trying to find some advantage here. Car running a little bit off the pace at the moment is Leo Carson, who is already 3 laps down. And that car does not sound the greatest at the moment. Kira Rigney leads the way and is putting up about 3/4 of a second on Sienna early here in Nashville, completing lap number 8. And you see the gap already early between the top 10, the haves and have-nots. Clark a little bit closer to this 3-wide battle for 12. You'll find Keisha Fox, Celine Robinson, and Matilda Atalanta in the fight. And they are duking it out for position here. There's Oldham battling with Christensen for 7th. Rogers in that fight as well. Oldham goes top side. Rogers goes to the middle and will side draft off the 87 to get forward and through to the 8th spot. Oldham trying to hold on to that 7th position. Good look at the battle here. 3 turns 1 and 2 between Oldham and Rogers. Rogers trying to drive through the bottom of the corner. Just doesn't have the roll off that Oldham does. There's line astern for the most part in that top 10. Caitlin Hunter battling with Daryl Everett Jr. at the back of the field for 38th. Allison is dropping back a spot there to Tommy Ray, who started this race on the last row. Dominguez still in that fight as well. Sitting now in the 35th position. Jack Kreider in 34th. Neil LaForce also in the charge forward. 33rd now for the 31 car after starting this race in 38th. That's 5 spots gained for Force. Max Kuhn at 32nd. Zoe Black battling for 30th with Cole Matthews and Alex Coleman for 29th. And it looks like Zoe Black might be able to have a shot here. Coleman overdrives the corner on the exit out of 4. And Coleman going to try to use the outside lane successfully to defend that 29th position. Zoe Black in 30th. Here comes Max Kuhn with the run. Car 22 couldn't quite get to the 36. And just with the racetrack just a little bit, Force will have an opportunity now to look to the inside lane. Field is rolling high at the moment from the spotter's cam above the broadcast booth here in Nashville. Kira Rigney, front and center, leads the way. Sienna in 2nd place. Battle for 3rd between Pearson and Everett. Pearson has to stay put in 4th at the moment. Hale struggling a little bit early on here. 30.5 last time around, compared to 30.2 for Christensen and company, and it's faster the further up the field you go. A lot of off-throttle time here at Nashville. Concrete oval. A little bit on the flatter side in the corners. Multiple lanes available. We've seen the multiple lanes in use already. Outside lane, inside lane. What's your car geared for at the moment? Pearson trying the inside lane. Everett sitting about half a lane up on the racetrack, using it to get momentum out of the corner. It's a good defense. This concrete surface will be very abrasive to the tires. The gap between Hale and the leader is not that significant, about a 10th. The difference in lap times that go around. Hale on an island. It's 30.8 for Jace Clark, and it's slower the further on back you go. So there's about 10 cars that really have things dialed in to some degree. Rigney with that fresh air, that clean air. Just absolutely just setting sail. Sienna matching lap times that go around. Rogers really trying to get after Victor Oldham III. Trying to make a pass happen to no avail. Use the outside lane this time, and we'll cycle around the 23 on the outside. Christensen going to try to do the same. Is it going to work for Christensen the same way? It looks like it. Christensen up to the 8th spot. As Pearson and Everett battle it out for 3rd place once again. And again, Everett on that outer lane, grabbing momentum and getting ahead of the 81. Side by side, it's Crown and Harrington. A lot of off-throttle time in the corners. That'll get more and more as these tires wear. This concrete surface acts like sandpaper. To the Goodyear Eagles. And look at Rogers' surge forward. He wants to get in the top 5 here. He thinks he's got a car to beat. But he has nowhere to go right now. Going to help Crown basically defend that 5th position from Harrington. But the objective is that he wants to be in that 5th spot himself. Because he wants to attack Carissa Everett and Evie Pearson to try to get to the podium. Get to the top 3 if he can. Sort of just operate from there, outside lane. Cycles around Harrington. And put Rogers up to 6th. Battle here for the 11th spot between Clark, Walker, and Robinson. Gavin Gray in 14th. Megan Davenport up to 15th place. Ever Jackson 16th. Keisha Fox in 17th, 18th. Daryl Bird. Daniel Molina, his Camyron Racing teammate there in 19th. Michael Norman has surged back forward into the top 20. 20th place for the 25 at the moment. Celeste Sullivan in 21st position. Then it's Mendoza, Delahaye, Fred Jones, and Cam Anderson. Anderson battling for 24th with Jones there. Benedito Magalhães, the Brazilian, sitting 26th. Chris Pauly up to 27th ahead of Alex Coleman. Levi Allison now in 29th. And Jack Kreider now top 30 as they battle further back in the running order. Toyota Atalanta has come down pit lane. Now sitting a lap down in the 39th position. Had a flat tire, had a puncture. Had to come back down. A little bit of contact further back in the running order here. Rigney still leads the way. And it is a pretty comfy gap, 1.7 seconds over Sienna, who has been caught up by Everett and Pearson in that battle now for the 2nd spot. Dodge, Chevy, and Ford all in the conversation right now. Honda leads the way, though. Got Mercedes in the top 10 there with Christensen. Your best Toyota is right now Jackson in 15th. And Pearson's really giving it a shot, trying to get to the front of the field, trying to at least get to 2nd place, get around Everett, get around Sienna. 81's had pace all season. Obviously, we saw Order win in Atlanta. We've seen the pace the 81 has had at Bristol and at Richmond the week before. Let's ride on board. He's still trying to get that bottom lane to hook up for the 81. No such luck so far. Sienna trying to keep the 3 and the 81 in her mirror. See Thomas Rogers has fallen right back down to the 8th spot. Violet Hale entering lap 30. Very unhappy with where the car is at the moment. Got completely left by the 9 cars in front, but has completely left most of the cars behind. Robinson is up to the 11th spot, trying to close in, and is now running faster than the 24. Walker in 12th. Clark in 13th. 14th, this is where you'll find the dogfight between Gavin Gray. There's Edward Jackson. There's Daryl Bird, Keisha Fox, Megan Davenport. And then it's more of a gap down to the 19th place, Daniel Molina. Mendoza 20th. Battle for 21st. Magalays, Norman, Pauly. Huge group here in this conversation to try to get into the top 20 here. Davenport trying to find a way around Daryl Bird, and will do so, but will get checked up by Jackson out of the back straightaway. Walker hanging on to the draft of Robinson, trying to move forward in the field. Hale running 31.0s consistently. Robinson running 30.9s, 30.8s in the draft for Robinson those last couple laps, which makes sense. 30.9s for Oldham and company here in this battle for the 3rd spot. Pearson has a chance on the outside lane now. Can the 81 go to 3rd? Everett had 3rd at the stripe. And Pearson outside lane on lap 33 will take over the 3rd spot. And that Krispy Kreme 81 machine for Black Rose Racing, Pearson out front. So Pearson to 3rd, Everett to 4th, Crown still in 5th, Christensen with the pressure being applied, the only Swift Autosport car in the field. Tasha Wright and Taylor Courting failed to qualify here in Nashville. And Christensen really tight through turns 1 and 2. Had to really get out of the gas to avoid really running into Roberto Crown Jr. and now under pressure from Penn Harrington and company. Just overdrove it in turns 1 and 2 and loses out. Pearson will try to attack now the 96 of Sienna. As you saw just up the road there, Rigney now dealing with traffic, and that's the 2 cars that have had troubles in this race. Leo Carson, who was 4 laps down, and Matilda Atalanta, who went 1 lap down, pitting for a flat tire. And that will slow up the 80 just a little bit. Maybe enough for these 2 to start battling to get closer. Pearson trying the inside lane again, this time on Sienna. Will it work on the 96? It didn't work on the 3. She had to go to the outer lane. It won't work this time on the 96 either. The 96 using the outer lane to defend does it well. But it's going to cost them time the more that they battle instead of trying to catch the number 80 and to go after the race lead. Rigney trying to get around Carson. No dice. .5 compared to 30.9. Half a second that last lap is the catch-up rate. Sienna defending again outer lane from Pearson. They have pulled away from Everett in 4th. Everett, Crown, Christensen, Harrington, Oldham, and Rogers in that top 9. Violet Hale hoping that this continues so she can try to catch back up to this group. Rigney just struggling to get around the 2 lap cars. They're on fresher tires, though. They don't have quite the same concern as the leaders do at the moment. A little bit of an offset will be frustrating for the race leaders despite the pace difference. Rigney trying once again to get around. This is going to close the door completely. And the top 3 now all together. Rigney trying to get around Carson. Has the advantage. Here comes Sienna. Here comes Pearson. Rigney gets around one. And Sienna can't. Sienna can't quite get around. At least can't get clear. And Pearson, outer lane. Trying to follow Carson through. Oh goodness. 3 wide. Pearson is desperate to get around for second place and will do so. Meanwhile, Rigney trying to get around Atalanta to put Atalanta a second lap down. They are coming up on more traffic. Car coming down pit lane. Satomi Ray has to complete lap 38 here in Nashville. That is not a scheduled stop for the 4. Atalanta stays just 1 lap down. Now it's imperative because Satomi Ray has come down pit lane as well. This is for the free pass position. Stay ahead of the 80 and try to get that free pass spot. And Rigney just powers through in the bottom of turns 3 and 4 that time. Not taking no for an answer. Kira Rigney will put the 42 a second lap down. In comparison, not seeing where Satomi Ray exited pit lane. I think Atalanta might have still gotten that first car 1 lap down. And yeah, there you go. So Satomi Ray just now back out on the racetrack. So Satomi Ray is the first car off the lead lap at the moment. And Kira Rigney now clear, but there's a lot of traffic up ahead. Now in the conversation, Caitlin Hunter next up, Jack Kreider. This is a huge battle in the bottom 40 or bottom 10 of the field. Dominguez, Forrest, Magalhaes, Everett Jr., Max Kuhn. You've got Jack Kreider in this conversation. Zoe Black, Cole Matthews, Caitlin Hunter in this conversation. Kira Rigney's right there. Struggling there for Leo Carson. Opens the door for Evie Pearson to go on through. Teammates working together just a little bit, making life a little bit easier for the 81 as Pearson tries to walk away with second place at the moment. Sienna in third. Everett behind Oldham in the top 5. But here comes Christensen. Ciara Christensen following the 77 of Carson as he battles back around the 96. Max Kuhn's already been lapped by the 80 Akira Rigney, so now he's the first car a lap down. Look at Jack Kreider rolling around the outside lane. Force will try to do the exact same thing in the 31. The pressure is on to stay on the lead lap. Force gets clear of Allison. Kreider gets clear of Anderson. Anderson drifting up the racetrack a little bit. Force trying to find momentum on the way around the outside. Trying to slice and dice through the field here. Lap traffic everywhere for the race leaders right now. Door is open for Pearson, for Christensen, who's moved up to third around Sienna. They try to close in and take that race lead away. Christensen goes outside lane, but it's going to get held up by Atalanta. Here comes Pearson. Sienna tried closing the door, and Pearson looks to the inside. 3 wide. Leader in the middle. Goodness. Lap traffic playing havoc. Rigney still leads. Pearson second. Christensen third. Sienna up top now in fourth. Trying to find a way back around the 87. At a turn number 2. Sienna wanted the outside lane. Did not want to be on the bottom of the racetrack there. And this is going to be a storm around the outside for the 96. How many spots can she pick up? Picks up 1 spot. Picks up 2 after the stripe. Stays far outside lane. Runs where Atalanta's not. Rigney on the bottom of the racetrack. Was clear for a moment of Atalanta. Not this time. And the traffic is intense. Unlike at Bristol a week ago, though, there's space to manage around that traffic. The question is there patience? Here comes Christensen, bottom of the racetrack. Trouble car. Engine expires in the group. That is Daryl Everett Jr. He gets to the apron out of the way, but everyone had to scramble. Very heads-up driving for just about everybody involved in that, just to avoid hitting the 8 car. Letting the 8 get back to pit lane under his own power. Still green at the moment. If the 8 cannot get back under his own power, there he is, back in pit lane. Got there in his own power. This wild group. You see how continuous this group is from 19th on down, and the leaders having to try to work through it. Rigney leading. Sienna now back up into second place ahead of Christensen. Pearson stuck on the bottom of the racetrack around lap traffic. That's Harrington just behind in the 5th position. Christensen trying to make a move on the 96. The 96 on the outside lane looking at the race leader to the left. Can Sienna take the lead lap here? No, Rigney's going to lead once more. The pole sitter has led 53 consecutive laps. But here goes Sienna to the front of the field now. Your Richmond race winner once again out in front, this time in Nashville. Now working on Cam Anderson. Christensen trying to work on the outside lane as well, but has a little bit of space to try to close in on. Max Kuhn blocks the 87. Sienna leads for the first time tonight. New race leader. Our first official lead change in the AT&T 300. The frustrations of working around the lap traffic at the moment is when the lap traffic's trying to battle you. Max Kuhn trying to get back on the lead lap here. Atalanta's got fresher tires coming down for that tire puncture. Gonna just make life a little bit more frustrating for everybody involved. Sienna, Rigney, Christensen top 3. That is Rogers in 4th, Oldham in 5th. Then it's Crown, Pearson, Everett, and Harrington, your top 9. Violet Hail still has not encountered any of the lap traffic. Tire wear falling off on the 70, or on the 27. Not 27, 24, excuse me. 31.7 is the lap I was trying to get to on the talking point there. 32-second laps for those in this group. So Hale is closing in, but not happy with the car. The radio for the 24 has been an interesting set of fireworks. Robinson and Walker, they've been closing in, but it's been very slow and methodical for the 98 and the 60 as they sit on an island, 11th and 12th. Clark, Bird, Jackson, Fox, Davenport, and Gray, your top 18. Fred Jones at 19th. He is broken away from Molina, who sits in 20th, leading this group, now being picked apart by the race leaders. New race leader once again, your pole sitter, Kira Rigney. Sienna got held up by lap traffic, couldn't go anywhere, and is still being frustrated by lap traffic here. Everybody is. Force will go a lap down. Lap 60 underway here in Music City, as Rigney goes far outside lane to try to find a way around Zoe Black. The Mercedes stuck on the inside lane. Rigney continuing that surge forward at the moment, trying to put as many lap cars between herself and the rest of her opposition on the lead lap here. Now working on Anderson. Anderson now in the 28th position, trying to chase down Alex Coleman. A lot of position battles going on at the moment in this group. Anderson stays on the lead lap. Brittany trying to go 3 wide on the bottom of the racetrack. Christensen up to second. And the leaders come down the pit lane. And the pit window opens on lap 62. Leaders down pit lane. Sienna comes down pit lane. And we do have a new race leader. In the form of Thomas Rogers, who is immediately under pressure from Victor Oldham. Oldham, Rogers, Harrington, top 3 at the moment, but the pit window is here. And Rogers will lead another lap as more cars come down the pit lane. If it stays green, it's a 3-stop race. There's Davenport coming back out on the racetrack here in car 20. A lot of cars coming down pit lane this time. Rogers, Oldham, Harrington, Pearson. A lot of cars on the pit lane there. Christensen got around Rigney on pit stops. See if everyone cycles out here. Cars jostling for positions. We saw that come all the way through. Christensen does inherit the race lead here. Kira Rigney in second. Believe Sienna's in third. Yep, Sienna in third, but it's a distant third at the moment. Carissa Everett in fourth. Violet Hale was waiting for that first round of green flag pit stops. Needed to make some adjustments to that car, and here you go. Car 24 up to fourth place. Sat on an island in 10th for the entire first stanza of the race. Now gets around the 3 of Everett, and up to fourth she goes. Talk about hitting your marks. Violet Hale's doing exactly that. Keep an eye on that 24. Obviously, the 87, the joint points leader at the front of the field, is going to be difficult. But that 24 just made a lot of inroads in one pit stop to set the stage for this second part of the race. Gavin, that's Theo Carson coming down the pit lane now, checking out some of the leaders here. We have 20 cars on the lead lap at the moment. 39 cars running in total. Sienna in third, and then not too far away, Violet Hale in fourth. Carissa Everett, top 5. Let's look down to Evie Pearson in sixth, behind some more lap traffic. That is Sullivan, Anderson, and Mendoza just ahead. That is Victor Oldham and Thomas Rogers just behind that battle for sixth. Sonia Walker in this conversation as well in ninth. And then 10th place is the battle between Penn Harrington and Celine Robinson, with Roberto Crown Jr. in 12th. 13th, Megan Davenport. 14th, Daryl Bird. Satomi Ray up to 15th. Everett Jackson up to 16th place. Gavin Gray up to 17th as the leaders now square off behind the 53. And Kira Rigney has the better car compared to Christensen. Christensen's managed lap traffic a little bit better, but it will be the 80 of Rigney that gets back to the front of the field to complete lap 71 here in the AT&T 300. 70 laps completed. Trouble. That was, I believe, Coleman. Another Chevrolet engine expiring. I believe it's a 29 of Coleman. It is 29 of Coleman. Those are the Everett Carver engines. The 8 was using them. The ECR engine there. ECR engine in the 29 as well. And this will be a slow crawl back to the pit lane. But Coleman does make it back to pit lane. But his race will come to a close. Just 71 laps in the books there for him. Christensen back out in front amidst the chaos. But the racing continues. And with that, we will step aside for our first break so you can have a word from your local CBS station. Stay tuned for the AT&T Cup Series here in Nashville on CBS. Welcome back, everyone, to the AT&T Cup Series here on CBS. We're under caution for the first time on lap 84, and here is the reason why. Satomi Ray had been nursing an ailing race car, and the ghost was finally given up. just a lap ago. Engine grenades on the front straightaway. Nowhere for Cole Matthews to go. Luckily, most of the field avoids making contact on the outside lane. Everyone checks up and makes their way around through. But it does negatively impact Tommy Reyes, whose race is done, and Cole Matthews. Cole Matthews will have a hard time here in this race. Chris Pauly will receive the free pass as the first car off the lead lap. But the field will reset here. Here in Nashville. We will send it to CBS Studios for an update on La Liga. So stay tuned here, and we'll come back here in about 120 seconds to bring back more of the action when we go back green here in Nashville. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, to the AT&T Cup Series here on CBS. A wonderful Sunday night of racing here in Nashville Superspeedway as the field rolls on by. 4 cars out here in Nashville. 3 for engine failures. Satomi Ray, Alex Coleman, and Darrell Everett Jr. Cam Anderson out because of the accident. As the field gets ready to roll once again. It is Sierra Christensen, Kira Rigney, Carmen Sienna, Violet Hale, Carissa Everett, your top 5. Victor Oldham the third in 6th to make up your first 3 rows. Green flag flies, away we go. 36 cars still running here in Nashville. 16 on the lead lap. And it is Rigney that has the advantage on the initial start. Violet Hale up to 3rd, now with the close gap to the race leaders after making some big-time inroads on that first green flag pit stop. Now a chance to try to reel things in. Both the Lower Motorsport cars in the top 5 going to duke it out amongst themselves for 3rd. And Hale's going to win out that battle pretty easily. Harrington's going to follow through for 4th. Oldham down to 5th. Sienna in 6th. 7th, Sonia Walker. 8th, Carissa Everett. 9th, Roberta Crown Jr. Celine Robinson up to the 10th spot around Evie Pearson. It's a little bit elbows out there. Robinson sent Darrell Bird up the racetrack, and Darrell Bird didn't quite appreciate it. Three wide further down the order. Pearson, Everett, and Robinson. Robinson, far outside lane. Trying to power through around Everett here at a turn 2. Rigney out in front, Christian second. They have left everyone behind again. Hale in 3rd with a fight on her hands for that 3rd spot because Sonia Walker, Victor Oldham the 3rd, Carmen Sienna, and Penn Harrington are all right there. But it is a 2-horse race right now at the front between Kira Rigney and Sierra Christensen. Ridney pulling out all the stops here. About 4/10 clear of Christensen that go around. Hale sitting in the 3rd spot. Lower teammates are there. They're just missing a little bit compared to the top 2 at the moment. And that's going to be frustrating to them. Teammates 3rd and 4th. We've seen that they've been weapons free against each other so far this season. And they're at 3rd and 4th right now, about to battle for the 3rd spot. It does look like, yep, there goes Oldham, looks to the inside. Hale chooses outside lane and will defend pretty successfully here, I think. Sienna's going to try to pick up the pieces, though, out of turn 2. Whoa, trouble, Jace Clark. That was on the apron. No caution. That is bizarre. That is absolutely bizarre. Didn't see smoke billowing from the number 7. Not sure what the issue is. But everyone caught off guard. Oldham got around Hale for 3rd. Finally, Hale trying to hold on to that 4th spot for dear life. Here comes Harrington. Middle 3 wide. Yeah, still bound for that fourth spot. 4 cars under a blanket. Sienna's going to look at possibly putting it 3 wide. Doesn't quite do so. Rigney is completely setting sail. Jace Clark, 36th, is the last car on the lead lap at the moment. He was the car that was stopped on the apron. Not sure what the issue was, but he's now 6 laps down at the moment. Just returned to the racetrack in car 7. Fred Jones just up the road, 33rd. 1 lap down. Last car, 1 lap down. You have Matilda Adelana 2 laps down. Leo Carson 5 laps down. Jace Clark now 6 laps down. The Black Rose Racing cars have had some issues. Does not bode well for the 81 of Evie Pearson, who is still top 10 at the moment. Sienna gets around Hale for 3rd. Sorry, for 4th, excuse me. Oldham's in 3rd. Sienna now in 4th. Hale in 5th. Sonia Walker in 6th. Penn Harrington in 7th. 8th, Roberto Crown Jr. 9th, Evie Pearson. Thomas Rogers in 10th. Then it's Celine Robinson, Carissa Everett, Megan Davenport, Daryl Bird, and Chris Pauley and Everett Jackson will be your last 2 on the lead lap. But they are deep in this group right now. There's Everett Jackson, and Chris Pauley is a little bit further back here as your last car on the lead lap. First car lap down is where you'll find Celeste Sullivan, the 11. Christensen sitting right now in that 2nd spot. Oldham in 3rd. Sienna in 4th, closing in on the 23. And now into the 2nd half here in Nashville. I'm trying to figure out how to battle here against Oldham. Oldham defending the outside lane, I think, pretty well. Yeah, Sienna understeered a lot there in turns 1 and 2. Couldn't quite hold on there. Hale in 5th, Walker in 6th. Hale defends the outside lane as well. Both moves are smart. You've got to clear racetrack, so lap traffic's not going to be as much of a concern. You're not going to be caught out by it. Pearson is caught up to Crown. in this battle for the 8th position. Laps continue to tick away here in Nashville. Hale holding on to 5th place for dear life at the moment. The battle for 3rd, once again, bumper to bumper. And Oldham knows the outside lane's the lane to be in to make passes happen right now. Sienna's doing a lot better that time around through 3 and 4. Can you maintain that in 1 and 2 is the big question. I don't think the answer is yes on that. No, it's not. Sienna once again tight in 1 and 2. Sienna's better than Oldham in 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 is the big killer there, as Rigney has caught up to lap traffic, putting another lap down. Daniel Molina, Fred Jones next in line. And Ciara Christensen has had no response. 5 seconds the gap. Kira Rigney has been on a different planet. And you see right there. For 3rd. I thought we saw caution lights on. We did not. Instead, Sienna still frustrated by the 23. Harrington trying to get around the 24 of Hale. Harrington's going to be frustrated by Hale as well. Crown chased up the racetrack there by Pearson in that battle for the 8th position. 2 rookies battling for 11th place. Robinson and Davenport. Bird around Everett. Sullivan, the first car, a lap down. And then you got Zoe Black, Caitlin Hunter, Michael Norman in the top 20 at the moment. Edward Jackson only lapping 15th, but mired amongst lap cars. Dominguez in 21st, Force in 22nd, Jack Kreider 23rd. But the pressure is on for the cars further down the running order because the race leader is there. Brittany battling to get around. That is Magalhaes, the 54. Sitting now in the 32nd position, I do believe. 31st for Magalhaes. Had to double check. Chris Paul in danger of going a lap down again. Pit stops shouldn't be needed until about lap 145. So we're within 20 laps of pit stops here. There will need to be another set of pit stops before the end of the race after that. The question is, can anyone stop the 80 at Kira Rigney? Rigney still working around lap traffic at the moment. Three wide, Rigney on the bottom. Magalay is going to lose the position on track there. Rigney is on a different planet, but you see the gap and how much it's closed with Sarah Christensen now right there in second. 5 seconds goes away pretty quick. Oldham in third, still holding Sienna at bay. Violet Hale still holding the rest of the group at bay in the top 10. Harrington 6th, Walker 7th, Crown 8th, 9th, Rogers. Max Kuhn, who came down pit lane for a flat tire, back on the racetrack in 34th. He's in this group. Same with Evie Pearson in 10th. But Max Kuhn has the freshest tires of anyone in the field in that 22 car. Gale under pressure from Walker. Once again. And Hale again using the outside lane to defend. As Rigney uses the inside lane to try to carve around lap cars. Putting Mendoza a second lap down. The pressure is on. Rigney now working on Levi Allison to put him a lap down. Chris Paul about to go a lap down again. That 43 car struggling at the moment. He's trying to defend. He's trying to hold on to that lead lap. Pressure's on. 3 wide, further ahead of the race leader. Clark and Gray getting around Leo Carson. Here comes Rigney, outside lane around Chris Pauley, who goes a lap down for the second time. Now trying to get around Dominguez is Kira Rigney. And Christensen has just been stuck. Sienna's gotten around the 23 of Oldham. That was for third. Fourth now is where Oldham sits. Hale still in the top 5 and just frustrating Harrington and Walker. 24 still not with the pace of the race leaders, but contending for the top 5, which is a huge improvement. Ooh, Harrington got really tight there in 1 and 2. Opens the door right up there for the 60 of Walker, who was waiting for it. Fortunately, Harrington just better in 3 and 4. And now the door's open for Crown to go on through. And there's Pearson as well, the 81. Her teammates have struggled a lot in this race, but the 81 still running strong in the top 10. And the 81 gets around the 60 as well and takes a look at the 88 of Crown. Sienna now in the lap traffic. Got around Ciara Christensen. So 96 has moved up into the second spot. But now the objective is, once again, try to catch the 80 in the situation with pit stops not far away. Within the next 5 laps, we'll start seeing the leaders come down pit lane again. Three wide, further ahead once again. And then you see Clark on the bottom, Jack Kreider in the middle, Dominguez up top. Sienna trying to get clear of Mendoza. And does get clear of Mendoza, very crucially, through turns 1 and 2. Oldham closing in, trying to pass this 87 of Christensen. And it looks like Oldham will do so. Oldham to third. Christensen fourth. Violet Hale still sitting in fifth. And trouble. Engine is expired on Mendoza. Caution is out. And Mendoza's car will not make it back to pit lane in the middle of the racetrack. Thankfully, everyone avoids hitting him, but the caution does fly. For the second time today, Chris Pauly will once again be the free pass recipient. Just as we were getting ready to approach the pit window, the caution comes out again. And pit lane's about to become a very, very busy place. And so with that, we'll step aside for our second commercial break here of the day. Stay tuned here on CBS for more racing to come from Nashville. Welcome back, everyone, to the AT&T 300 here at Nashville Superspeedway, race 5 of the AT&T Cup Series season here in Music City. Getting ready to go back racing from our second caution of the night for Shane Mendoza having an engine failure and not being able to return to pit lane. Had to stop on the racetrack. It is Keira Rigney at the front of the field. Carmen Sienna in second. And that's Sierra Christensen in third. Victor Oldham in fourth. Violet Hale top 5. Celine Robinson in 6th. Penn Harrington 7th. 8th, Thomas Rogers. 9th, Roberto Crown Jr. 10th, Sonia Walker. 11th, Daryl Bird. Megan Davenport in 12th. Evie Pearson in 13th. Carissa Everett 14th. Everett Jackson in 15th. Chris Pauley, your last car on the lead lap, in the 16th position as we get ready to go back racing. 35 cars still running from the 40 that started. Mendoza, Anderson, Ray, Coleman, Everett Jr. out of the AT&T 300 as we come around to reach 76 laps to go. Green flag flies, and away we go. We're back underway here in Nashville, and Sienna gets a better restart there than Rigney. And Sienna's going to take the lead out of turn 2. Got the better jump. Oldham to second. As they get up to speed here in Nashville. Car coming down pit lane is Atalanta. Sienna leads. Rigney stops bleeding at third. Robinson in fourth. Rogers fifth. Walker trying to take that spot away. Coming to 74 to go. And there will be one more pit stop in this race. They cannot make it the full 76 lap distance without a stop. Here comes Robinson. Not Robinson, that's Davenport. Looking at sixth. Trying to get around the defending Cup champion, and will do so out of turn 2. Christensen trying to get back up to the front of the field. Lost several spots, not only on pit lane, but on the restart. 3 wide as they go into turn 3. And Violet Hale struggling to get that car fired up and going on all cylinders. Losing several spots. Hale in the 11th position. Chris Pauley up to 10th. Got that car refired in a little bit better manner. But it's Sienna out in front right now. Rigney has led over half the race, 123 of 225. Sienna's led 9 laps here. Oldham's led 1. 2 laps led for Rogers, 18 for Christensen. Those are all your race leaders so far today. And it's 3 cars pulling away at the front. Robinson in 4th, Rogers in 5th on an island. Davenport staying ahead of Christensen, who's battling with Penn Harrington for 7th and is going to lose that 7th spot. Walker in 9th. Pauley in 10th. And Violet Hale has stopped the bleeding at 11th place. Christensen's going to lose 8th place as well. So Christensen down to 9th as the leaders waltz forward and start trimming laps away here. 2 laps a minute, do the math. Coming to 70 laps to go. Sienna looking for her second race win of the season after winning 2 weeks ago in Richmond. Oldham looking for a race win as well. Same with Kira Rigney, your pole sitter for this race. They are top 3. Robinson currently the highest currently placing rookie at the moment, but it's close because there's Davenport getting clear of Christensen at a turn 4, keeping it close right there in 6th. Chris Pauly, he was struggling in that last run, got lapped again. Chris Pauly now top 10, getting ahead of Michael Norman, who is a lap down in 18th. Norman battling with Hunter for that position. Roberto Crown Jr. around Violet Hale. That is for 11th place. Hale in 12th. Hale has not finished this season worse than 12th. That was at Daytona. 12th at Daytona, 11th at Atlanta, 7th at Richmond, and 10th last week in Bristol. Consistency has been important. Looking for another top 10, potentially. Middle 3 wide. Hunter to the outside lane. But Violet Hale will brute force her way into the 11th spot once again. Trying to move forward. Michael Norman's been a little bit of hard knocks, learning the ovals for the first time after spending most of his career over an open wheel over in Europe. But here he is. 18th. It's an improvement. It's a trend in the right direction as he fills in for Wyatt Jones in that 25 car. A bit of a ride share between those two. Walker battling with Davenport and losing out on that fight. Oldham was trying to get around for the race lead there on Sienna. Lost out. And here comes Kira Rigney, the pole sitter. Does she make a lunge to the inside? Yes, she will. Three cars at the front. The fastest car all day sits in 3rd now. Robinson in 4th. Harrington battling with Christensen and Rogers. Robinson defends the outside lane. Harrington goes to the bottom. Christensen follows, but it won't help. Robinson stays clear. And here comes Davenport attacking the 2. Selling into that groove at the moment. Dominguez sits in 20th. Delahaye 21st. You'll find Krista Everett down in 13th place with Everett Jackson there 14th. Darrell Bird right now 15th place as things currently stand. Big time struggles there for Evie Pearson. That car is not firing off in traffic at all right now. But the car's still running. It was not running at this point in Richmond or in Bristol. So a trend in the right direction for the 81, I think, as things currently stand. Three cars under a blanket at the front of the field. It is going to, I think, be the sort of the barometer that the remainder of this race sort of is measured by here. Sienna just keeping everyone at bay, putting those laps led together. Not going to be enough to take over the most laps led. Rigney had that locked up at halfway. But as Rigney gets clear of Oldham for second, this fight between longtime rivals reignites here in Nashville, and Rigney wants the race lead back. Has led 123 laps, has not led any since the restart. And Sienna's going to try to keep that 80 behind for obvious reasons. They entered this race tied on points. As things currently sit, with Rigney getting the points for pole position, lead lap, most laps led, the gap would be in Sienna's favor. If things hold in this position, they'd be in Sienna's favor by 2 points. And they'd be 1-2 in the championship. Robinson defending from Harrington for fourth. Christensen in sixth would lose the points lead. Would drop down to third. But Christensen working forward. If she can get around both Harrington and Robinson, she'd be back at the top of the standings. But it would be a very thin margin at the top, between the top three, as things currently sit. Obviously, still a pit stop to go. Things can change, like this, for example. Oldham getting back in front of Rigney there for second place, as he tries to attack for the race lead once again. So some of this could change, and very well can change. Very fluid situation, but it just kind of shows how close it is and why every position right now matters. Doesn't matter if you're battling to be top 35 in points or battling to be at the top of the points. Every position matters at the moment. It's a beautiful sight to see. Robinson holding on to the fourth position, and it's going to allow Harrington back up into the top five. Christensen back down to sixth, and not far away is where you'll find Megan Davenport and Sonia Walker getting clear of Thomas Rogers. Chris Pauley, Burke Crown Jr., they ran out your top 10 and 11th place for Crown. Violet Hale in 12th. As good as they had that car earlier in the race, they just haven't found a way to get that car refired in the same way on this green flag run, coming to 51 laps to go. Everett in 13th, trying to close in with a chance at the top 10. If we get a green flag pit stop, it will be pretty interesting to see how it plays out. We have 50 laps to go and counting here in the AT&T 300 at Nashville. We've got to step aside and fit in one more break for your local stations here on CBS. Stay tuned so we can get more of the race finished here in Nashville. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, to the AT&T Cup Series here on CBS. We're here in Nashville Superspeedway with 40 laps to go. Your top three still duking it out. It's been Sienna in the advantage spot as the race leader. Kira Rigney up to second place. Victor Oldham the third in third. Sienna's led 41 laps. Make that 42 laps, 36 uncontested and uninterrupted from Rigney. Rigney trying to find a way around. Lap traffic is going to become a concern. Just up the road is Matilda Atalanta. But these three have a lot of space. 7 seconds to the cars behind. Christensen has jumped up into the fourth spot. but has a lot of ground to gain to try to get to the front of the field here. A pit stop still to go, but the pit stop did not favor Christensen very well the first green flag run we had. 2 cautions in this race. Not many. Not expecting another one, but never say never. Rigney trying to find a way around the 96, trying the outside lane as Sienna runs the bottom. Lap traffic will be a great equalizer. As they approach. Lap traffic now a factor for the race leaders. Rigney's going to take a shot at the outside lane. Going to take the lead back here, I believe, out of turn 4. With the effort of trying to get around Matilda Atalanta, and does. Rigney back out front at the line. And Oldham's going to try to go 3 wide here. He's going to go for the race lead out of turn 2. And he's going to get it. Now, can he maintain it through 3 and 4? That's Gavin Gray in front of him. Had to check up big time there. Traffic in the way. But Oldham's going to get another lap led here. His second lap led in Nashville. He's clear of Rigney. And advantage goes to Oldham here. It will help out Christensen that they've caught up to lap traffic. But pit stop, that pit stop is looming in the distance. And it's not far. Your top 3 under a blanket. Christensen trying to charge forward. Robinson in 5th. Harrington in 6th. Davenport, Rogers, and Walker. And then Chris Pauley in 10th. Hale trying to get around Roberto Crown Jr. for 11th, and will do so. There's Chris Everett in the conversation now in 13th. And then you have to sort of go diving to see where you can find Daryl Bird and Evie Pearson, 14th and 15th. And then there's Everett Jackson, last car on the lead lap here. But there's your race leaders. Oldham, Rigney, Sienna. Getting around Atalanta. But now the conga line begins. Coming to 31 laps to go. Oldham outside lane there around Jace Clark and company. With some separation. He's managing the lap traffic a lot better at the moment. We'll see how things change. And down pit lane he goes. So pit lane early for the 23 of Victor Oldham. The undercut worked out really well the last green flag stint we had. That's not a bad call for Oldham and company. Sienna trying to find a way to the race lead. Remember, pit stop's now underway with less than 30 to go to try to get to the finish. Does Rigney make a pit stop here? Yes, she does. The 80 is in. Here comes the 20. 96 is in too. And it's a race down pit lane in favor of the 80. Christensen now leads, I do believe. No, Christensen's on pit lane. It's Robinson that leads. 98 leads for the first time here in Nashville. Davenport in third behind Harrington, ahead of Thomas Rogers, who's in fourth. Oldham just now leaving pit lane. There's Christensen. Christensen closed the gap a lot there on that pit stop. Either that or Oldham had a slow pit stop. We'll find out. Pit lane's about to become a very, very busy place. Oldham is going to be the race leader here. That's Oldham out in front. Christensen bounding Sienna for second. Around Sienna for second. Sienna for third. And Kira Rigney in fourth. We'll be how that all cycles out. Davenport down pit lane now. Right now it is Oldham out in front once everything cycles through. More cars down pit lane. That's Daryl Bird down pit lane now. Sienna trying to get around. That's Neola Force. And the 96 not quite clear. Through turns 1 and 2. We'll have to try again in 3 and 4. Less than 25 laps to go. And everyone has made their final stops. Lee Robinson coming out of pit lane right now. Will be behind Penn Harrington, I believe that is for fifth. So Celine Robinson in sixth. Brittany trying to get around Levi Allison. Just as Sienna's trying to get around Neola Force, still trying to get around Neola Force and losing time trying to do so. Christensen just can't get around the 22. Just burning time. Atalanta comes down pit lane. Another retirement, engine failure, Sonia Walker. Walker did make it down pit lane under her own power. But that car is done for the day. Oldham trying to put more padding between himself and Christensen here, as Christensen works on Delana Delahaye. Goes up the road. That's Everett Jackson directly in front of him. Last car on the lead lap. And Keisha Fox, who is already 2 laps down. Pearson and Pauly battling for 12th. Crown in 11th. Violet Hale did get up into the top 10. Another good pit stop cycle. Trying to close in on the 3 of Everett. Davenport 8th. 7th for Rogers, behind that of Celine Robinson. Brittany trying now to get around Jack Kreider. Battle for position here. This is 21st to 23rd. Forrest, Black, and Matthews in the conversation. Matthews was involved in the first caution of the day. He's recovered pretty well, all things considered. Joe Bird 15th, a lap down at the moment as well. There's Dominguez 20th, who's also being caught up by this group right here. As the laps continue to wind down here in Nashville. It is Oldham out in front. Oldham trying to lead, trying to find a way around the 32 of Edward Jackson. Jackson trying to stay on the lead lap here. Christensen trying to get around Delahaye as well. Neither successful. Take another shot at it as more lap traffic approaches. Reason why Jackson's fighting so hard, because he's battling directly with the 81 and the 43 just up the road. There is a material reason for Jackson to do that. Christensen still can't get clear of Delahaye. Delahaye trying again through turns 1 and 2 to no avail. Still can't get around. Bunch of traffic here, but they're all cars trying to stay on the lead lap here. And here goes Christensen to the front of the field. Christensen to the front. Huge moment for Christensen. New race leader with 10 to go. The door opened up in a pretty significant way. Nine to go. And caution's out. Caution is out. Why is the yellow out? Caution is out with less than 10 to go. Oh. Chris Pauly's going to be the first car of one lap down. He's going to get the free pass. Evie Pearson survives and stays on the lead lap there in 12. Oh my. Not sure why. But the caution's out for the third time with less than 10 laps to go. Not seeing reports of stranded cars on the racetrack here. But that's going to put a lot of pressure on those at the front of the field. A lot of pressure on those at the front of the field. Pit lane empty. No takers. Chris Pauly getting the free pass. There he goes. Christensen at the front. Oldham. Jackson will be a lap down. Delahaye is 2 laps down. We're going to have a shootout to end this race here in Nashville. Absolutely insane. Absolute insanity. Just how that's played out. We've had 6 different race leaders. They're all top 6 in this race. To sort of just punctuate how good you've needed to be here in Nashville. This is going to be a wild one. We'll be going green, it looks like, with 5 laps to go. No takers on pit lane. Everyone thinking big time opportunities here. Christensen looking to go back-to-back to be the first driver to win more than one race this season. As everyone begins cycling forward, getting themselves in position here. Log jam here. It looks like we may have to extend this caution. And indeed, it has been extended. Log jam here as drivers trying to get themselves organized and in position. There's your top 3 on your screen. It should be Kira Rigney in 4th, but she is stuck behind everybody at the moment. Everyone just trying to get into organization, but Rigney can't go anywhere. So get organized. And there they go. And the more time this wastes, the less time the battle's going to be able to take here. And the more the nerves ramp up. Looks like everyone beginning to move now. Everyone getting, looks like up to speed now. Looks like they've got it figured out, but we're going to have now 3 laps to go to figure this one out. Christensen at the front. Automobile alongside in the front row. Sienna and Rigney, row 2. Rogers and Robinson, row 3. Harrington and Davenport, row 4. Everett and Hale, row 5. Crown and Pearson, row 6. "34 cars still running on the racetrack as we get ready for this final restart here in Nashville. It's Everett and Christensen at the front with 3 laps. 4 miles. Green flag flies, away we go. This is to determine the winner of the AT&T 300 here in Nashville. Can Christensen get clear? No, not quite. Oldham on the outside, trying to surge forward. Rigney up to 3rd. 3 wide, further back. And Oldham around the outside lane, battling for the race lead. 2 to go. Full throttle, and here goes Oldham, and here goes Rigney. Car 80 up to 2nd. Now the pressure's on the 23. Oldham and Rigney, 1-2, with coming to 1 lap to go. White flag is in the air. This is the final lap. Rigney takes a shot to the bottom. Not quite good enough there. Christensen's going to try to go for the lunge on the inside through 3 and 4. But these two will be battling for 2nd. Rigney holds on to 2nd place. But it will be Victor Oldham the 3rd. Your race winner in Nashville. He wins. And brings Ludwig Motorsports home another trophy. Rigney finishes 2nd. Christensen in 3rd. Robinson 4th. Davenport 5th. Violet Hale in 6th. Evie Pearson in 7th. Carmen Sienna 8th. Thomas Rogers in 9th. Carissa Everett in 10th. Penn Harrington 11th, 12th Roberto Crown Jr. Chris Pauly, the last car on the lead lap, in 13th. But it's Victor Oldham III, your race winner here in Nashville. Ludwig Motorsports victorious once again here in Music City. After missing out on Daytona, Oldham will celebrate here in Tennessee. Ciara Christensen continues to lead the points after tonight, but here's how the top 20 look leaving Nashville. This is the results from tonight. Victor Oldham III, your race winner over Kira Rigney. Ciara Christensen in third. Celine Robinson and Megan Davenport, your top five. A slew of rookies, 4th through 7th. Violet Hale finishing in 6th. Evie Pearson in 7th, getting her first finish in her career after 2 mechanical failures in Richmond and Bristol. This concrete track fares a little bit nicer for the 81 crew. Carmen Sienna in 8th. Thomas Rogers in 9th. Carissa Everett rounding out your top 10 here in Nashville. Penn Harrington, Roberto Crown Jr., Chris Pauly, the last 3 on the lead lap. Edward Jackson, Celeste Sullivan, Daryl Bird, Caitlin Hunter, Michael Norman, Riley Dominguez, and Zoe Black. They all round out your top 20 here. All of them 1 lap down. Jack Kreider, 21st. Cole Matthews, 22nd. Keisha Fox, 23rd. Delana Delahaye, 24th. Neola Force, 25th. Gavin Gray, 26th. Then it's Fred Jones, Daniel Molina, Levi Allison, and Benedito Magalhaes, your top 30. Max Coom, Matilda Atalanta, Leo Carson, and Jace Clark, your 34 finishers. Ahead of Sonia Walker, Shane Mendoza, Cam Anderson, Satomi Ray, Alex Coleman, and Daryl Everett Jr., whose days come to a close. That'll do it for us here in Nashville. Join us again in North Wilkesboro next Sunday. But can't wait to see you there for the Goodyear 400. I'm Beth Rowan here for CBS, for the AT&T Cup Series, Horizon Corporation, all of its partners. Thank you so much. Stay safe and stay healthy. We'll see you next weekend. Until then, so long, everybody.